So in here, inside of the car package, we have the model, we have the DAO. So this class is responsible for adding to the database. And we also have the car service in here. So how do we connect basically car DAO as well as car service? Well, you've got two options. So if I open up car service, so in here at this point where we return 1, we can actually store the car to the database, right? So provided that all of this passes, right? Now here, the way that we bring the DAO is as simple as saying private and then car and then DAO, car DAO. And here you've got two options. You can say new and then car DAO, and there we go. So now you can basically say car DAO dot save and then car. So you can see how we are now connecting these two classes together. Now this actually is slightly incorrect, and because you haven't learned about testing and dependency injection, this will not make sense at all, right? But I think for now, let's just keep it like this. Let's just keep it like this, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the better way of doing this. So you can either do it like this for now, or remember, so we can have a constructor also for service classes right here. And basically, let's just do this. So let's just say at the point where we instantiate, we can say this dot car DAO equals to new and then car DAO, just like this, right? Or if you have multiple constructors, you could have the instance block in here, right? So you could put it inside, but usually people don't do that. They just have one constructor for service classes, and you can do this. Now at the point where we basically create the car service, we also create the car DAO, and then we can register a new car. So let's actually test this out. So for this, what I need to do actually is I need to have a method. So within the service, let's just have one method called public, and then here I want a list of cars or an array of cars, and then I want to say get and then cars. And in here we're going to ask the car DAO to select all and then cars. Now obviously we don't have select all cars, so let me just take this name, and then inside here this method will be straightforward. It will be public and then car. So this will be a list, select all cars, and there we go. So now let's simply return the basically cars. And obviously you could basically create a method that returns just the cars inside of the cars array, but for simplicity let's just return everything, right? Because this will give you empty slots. So car service, and now here I'm just going to return car DAO. Now you can see that even though there's not much business logic, we still have to go through car DAO to select all cars, right? So we shouldn't be accessing the car DAO directly. So all the interaction that goes through our DAO, we should basically go through the car service instead. But I'll show you the diagram in a second. So now that we have basically get cars, but also we can register a new car, and basically from the service we have a communication through the DAO, right, through this constructor in here, and here we actually initialize it like so. So now let's open up the main method, and in here let's just basically say that we want a car equals to new and then car. And in here I think we might need a second constructor. Yes, let's just have a second constructor, oops, with all of these fields. And now I can pass the reg number. So let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be on a new line so you can see properly. So big decimal, and let's just say 10, for example. So very cheap. Now let's have the car service. So car and then service, car service equals to new car service. And finally, let's just say car service dot and then register new car. We pass the car. And finally, let's just in here say car service dot and then get cars. Now let's just sout this. Let's just log this or print just like that. And here I think we get a warning. So implicit call to toString. So I think what we want is this. Yes, arrays to string and then get cars. And to be honest, this is it. And let me just take all of this and extract this to a variable or to a method called cars example. There we go. Now I'm just going to invoke this in here. So let me just put it right in here, right? So just like that. So let me just run this and hopefully everything should work. And there we go. Have a look. It works. So we have one car, which is at the very beginning, and then the rest are nulls because we have 100 null cars, right? So if I go back to the car DAO and let's just say that in here, I think this should be capacity, just like that. So now if I change this to, let's say, only 5 cars, the capacity of it, and if I run this, you should see that we have this car that we added 1, 2, 3, 4 nulls in here. So I was saying that maybe we should return maybe just an array with the cars within this array, right? So instead of having nulls in here, but that's fine. So to be honest, that is it. So one thing that I forgot is within the car, let's just have a toString. And let me just run this again. And now you can see that we have our car in here. So to be honest, you can see how we put together the car service and car DAO. So I said that we could do it through the constructor, or I can say equals to new car DAO, remove the constructor. This will also work. Have a look, you can see it works. But to be honest, neither this, so let me just take this and go back. So neither this or this, let me just comment it out, are the best approaches. And basically, as you learn about testing later on and dependency injection, you see how we're going to improve on this. But for now, just trust me. And the reason why I'm teaching you this way is because this is how people used to do it. And in order for you to understand why this isn't good, you need to actually do it and then improve on it. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Otherwise, let's move on.